Welcome to the reflective presentation where I will exhibit my work on bilingualism and cognitive development and the correlation of bilingualism's impact on cognition and the benefits of being bilingual in today's society. Thank you for joining me today. Let us begin. Our regional proximity to an international boundary between the United States and Mexico led to border states and regions to have large influxes of individuals from inner Mexico, Central America, and many other regions from around the world, which has led to the diversification of language in the United States away from the traditional monolinguistic society. As of 2019, 78% of those living in the United States were monolingual. Over the last 40 years, an influx of over 30 million people into the United States were Spanish speakers. In 1980, the number of Spanish speakers was 11.1 million, and by 2019, that number had increased to 41.7 million, an increase of 275.6% respectively, and is expected to continue to grow. Working in the South Texas region, and more specifically for the PSJA Independent School District, we have the privilege of serving 244 of our total campus population of 510 students, which is 47.8% of the student body, which is labeled as EB for the 2021-2022 academic year. This work will attempt to establish the connection between bilingual individuals and cognitive development, and what teachers can do to best adapt their strategies to meet their needs. By knowing the demographic makeup of our classrooms, it is crucial that those entering the field of education obtain or already have varying levels of proficiency in the Spanish language. With these growing demands, we hope to only strengthen our dual language programs. The journey towards proficient bilingual abilities is not an easy one. The younger a child is exposed to both languages, especially prior to the age of 5, is related to content in a multitude of social and cultural contexts, and is presented this in a structured, persistent learning environment, the better the chances are that the learner can become proficient in both languages. According to Vygotsky, as mentioned in Woolfolk 2019, children are always learning through the interactions with those of higher order, educators like us around them, and the social cultural theory suggests students become integrated into the social constructs surrounding them. Bilingual students face a variety of challenges upon entering a learning environment that is more structured than anything they might have ever been exposed to prior in their academic lives. Challenges such as a lack of language reinforcement in the home setting or anywhere outside the learning environment may occur. When students are labeled as ear learners, they have constructed a knowledge of the language in a non-academic setting, and have developed potential reading, writing, and speaking inaccuracies. Also, a lack of teacher training in working with emergent bilinguals, which was the case that I was exposed to, especially working outside the valley up in Belton, Texas, north of Austin. Students may also feel isolated, or as if they do not belong in the social constructs if a language barrier exists. While monolingual students have a single pathway for learning in one language, the bilingual student brain has a dual pathway to synthesize information. Bilingualism is classified into two different subsets, either simultaneous or sequential. Simultaneous bilinguals are exposed anywhere from infancy to 3 years of age and absorb both languages concurrently during the first years or stages of development. Sequential bilinguals, on the other hand, are exposed to the second language, after 3 to 5 years of age, and learn dominant language first before their second. Did you know some researchers suggest the babies can hear the entire spectrum of phonemes, or the smallest unit of sound in speech, as their brains develop? They only begin to focus on the types of phonemes used by the languages of those socialized and they interact with. This emphasizes the notion that infants by 7 to 9 months are already hypersensitive to the language that surround them, begin to differentiate prosody in either language that is spoken in their home environment. Structuring our methods to meet the needs of bilingual learners. For our students coming from a Spanish-only home environment, and of course our bilingual learners, regions along the border have so many educators who are bilinguals themselves and are byproducts of some of the same dual language programs. Next, brain elasticity or neuroplasticity refers to the brain's ability to adapt and change in response to new experiences and learning. Lastly, our school employs a one-way immersive model which serves students of limited English proficiency with the hopes to transfer these populations into an English-only setting within 6 to 7 years of being enrolled, with instruction being delivered in both languages. To structure learning environments for bilingual learners, we must take into account a few key strategies. We must be cognizant of preserving the primary language. We must also begin with assessment to determine proficiency levels in skills like reading, speaking, writing, and listening, to plan for small group instruction to target areas of need. We must then use visual aids to build lexicons through multimodal approaches to learning. We must also include bilingual pairing, and of course, increase opportunities for using authentic speech in the learning environment. The benefits of bilingualism are vast and ever expanding. Being able to speak 2 or more languages beyond any prime language makes you an extreme asset in the job market. Of course, the ability to bridge language barriers. Cognitive capacity is greatly impacted by the individual's bilingual learning experience as they are able to task switch or multitask and focus attention while they refrain from using one language and focus their cognitive efforts on speaking another. Lastly, some researchers even suggest that cognitive decline may be delayed in the brain of a bilingual versus the brain of a monolingual speaker by 4 years. Research has shown that being bilingual in today's modern society can have profound implications like positive impacts to cognitive development, academic achievement, and career opportunities. Elementary teachers like our own build the foundations for B3 or being bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural students in education language immersion models to build cultural awareness and to expose students to a diversity in adaptable learning environments.